Welcome to Lab Coat Theater. Hi, I'm Tony. My husband and I just recently published an introductory video of our first baby camper, Galileo. I'd like to talk to you for a minute about the start of our camper project. We had been camping for decades and had a few campers over the years, most recently a 28-foot Jayco. In fact, my husband lived in it for several years, traveling around the country as an inspector on natural gas pipelines. But after pipeline, and with our kids grown and out of the house, we started using it less and less frequently. Our camper spent most of its time in storage. But while it was in storage, the Arizona sun was slowly killing it. It was time to close that chapter and sell it. But because we still wanted to camp occasionally, we dusted off our tent and roughed it for a bit. So why did we decide to build our own camper? The pandemic, of course. We got hooked on inspirational YouTube channels like Will Prowse, The Explorist, The Chuck Box, and Humble Road. My husband got a serious bug to build a camper for us. And once this idea got into his head, he became passionate and obsessive about it. I had to let him explore this new little dream. So then we went on the road looking at vans to convert, but the van conversion dream was very short-lived. We didn't want it in the sun, and we didn't want to work on it in the driveway. It had to fit in the garage. We thought about going back to a pop-up tent camper, but although we always will have a soft spot for them, it kind of felt like going backwards. Been there, done that. So we started looking at mini campers and teardrops, and we made a list of what we wanted. When nothing we saw met our criteria, the creative bug kicked back in. We had to make our own trailer conversion that fits in the garage. And one of my initial fears, was that Max was going to put me in a box that I had to crawl in and crawl out of, and I wouldn't even be able to stand up in. I have to admit, I was pretty hesitant. But looking at his face, I had to stop and think. He was absolutely gleeful about the project. He's also an engineer, so he most definitely can make it happen. And I knew he would do everything possible to make me happy and comfortable. I couldn't stand in the way. Maybe I could even be of some use. So we ended up special ordering a 5x10 cargo trailer, 6 feet tall with 53 inches of vertical inside space. Yay for me. We ordered electric brakes, an independent axle, insulation, windows. The back door hinges had to be roadside, and it was supposed to be in charcoal gray. But due to supply chain issues, which many of us remember at that time, we were forced to abandon the independent axle and the custom color. And a very long 6.5 months later, we picked up our little white box. During that 6 months, we did a ton of planning that we are going to be sharing here. First, please like and subscribe. It would sure help us out. Now let's take a look.
Wow, nice.
You're welcome.
So here we are. And like my bride was saying, we had about 6.5 months of time to really think and prepare and regret and do all of these thoughts, and so we had to somehow release those thoughts, and right here is how we did it. And we were at a paint supply store. We found this resin paper, red resin paper, and it was like ah! But anyway, we cut it down to the size 5x10 trailer, so that's what that paper is, and it allowed us to really project and see how different components would fit in that space.
I thought he was nuts. Put a piece of paper on the floor.
And over here you could see she doesn't think I'm too nuts. She's having a good time. And
in my dirty shoes.
Yeah. But anyway, so we did have some fun playing around with different configurations with what we had, and so it was crazy helpful in the whole process. For example, here we put this tripod in place, and that tripod, the top of that tripod really illustrates the very top of where the ceiling is. And it gave us a really good idea of how crazy we are, because our last camper was pretty big, And now,
The vertical
yes.
space thing was really important
Yes.
to me because we were able to stand up in our Jayco and stuff. And I was so hesitant about not being able to stand up. I said, the very least, I want to be able to sit up straight. And we had to make sure that there was headroom. And so having this little tripod kind of as a guide, say, okay, this is going to be okay. It was such a relief to know that we would have that space inside, because you don't want to start a project with one person saying, I'm not going to like it. It was
a big
very
deal.
important for me to have that. So
And this really
I'm glad he showed it.
this exposed that need, really. And it wasn't just Tony. It really both of us. I wanted to sit comfortably, and
We didn't want to be hunched.
Exactly, whether we're on the commode or whatever. And this really dictated how high our refrigerator freezer was, the water tanks, and all these different components that went inside.
The bed frame,
Yeah,
everything.
Exactly. And so we spent a lot of time crunching those numbers. So here you could see over here, this is where we projected where our door would be, and that's pretty much where it is.
Yeah.
It's not a lot taller than that.
and I was trying to talk him into doing a full-size door, as full a size as from the bottom of the camper to the top of the camper. But then Max says, I don't think it's going to be in proportion. And I kind of was like, really? I'm going to have to crawl in it and crawl? What if I just want to step in it? And he goes, then if you step in it, you're going to hit your head. And what happened is he was right. The smaller size camper door really worked with our size trailer. So I was really happy that we went with the door that we ended up with.
I'm involved in safety, and actually for much of my career, it's been about safety. And when it comes to ingress, egress kind of thing, and that small door made it to where you didn't have the anticipation of having this full door and hitting your head. It really forces you to really think about that.
Be deliberate
ingress.
in your movements.
Yes, exactly. And it worked out pretty good.
It did. It actually did.
Yeah. And
to my surprise.
So yes, we do shop at this place called Amazon.
Way too much.
Yeah, and we use those. We used actually these boxes. These aren't actually to scale, but we did bring these to scale to mimic the batteries and the water tanks and different things. I wish we had shots of that, but that's what we were doing here, and it helped so much. In fact, we probably have 100 times more boxes than this, right?
Yeah,
and we ordered so much from Amazon. We stopped for a couple of weeks, and they came to our door and did a wellness check. So that shows you how crazy it was.
It was kind of nuts.
Yeah.
Every day they were coming to the house with more stuff.
I know, it was Christmas every day. But
Crazy.
so yeah, we anticipated different things. We even thought about putting a door towards the back of the camper, where we actually thought about building a shower there, and we nixed that idea and moved on. But I can't stress enough how this exercise helped shape this camper. It really did.
Even though we didn't use any of the design that we created,
Right.
It just gave us a good sense of what are the things that we have to consider when we're finally putting it together.
Yeah.
What are the things that we have to make work together? It's not just let's do this part and then let's do that part and then let's do that part. You have to have a cohesive plan of what you're going to put together. Otherwise, once you do something, you can't go back. Sometimes things are too permanent, right?
Yeah. And so we, this was very constructive. It was fun. It really
got us thinking.
Helped us to get to the point where we are today. So then we took it a little bit further, and we went inside because it got warm.
Which it does here.
And we got creative, and we started doing some dimensional kind of plans on paper, and we did all of these little things were all in proportion to the camper.
Yeah, we thought we were so smart.
And it actually worked out. It gave us more ways to think about where everything was going to go
True.
and fit and work together.
True.
And so this actually was a big deal. I mean, I got all the dimensions for batteries and water tanks, and this actually was for the shower. I think we had a cover. We did something. This was way out of proportion. I think we were doing something.
Well,
here,
I thought about that.
Yeah.
And actually, the bed wasn't laying on this stuff, right? We did have a couple of inches between between the water tanks and
Yes,
the, it
exactly.
wasn't
So
really
we
bad.
left ourselves some space, but this
Yeah.
front part, this is the front of the camper now. We
That's
allowed
cool.
this space here so that we can get in out of the rain, into the cold and stuff, and we realized that we needed a place to get in the camper instead of jumping right on our bed, and that's what that front part is all about.
It was important.
Yeah, indeed. So now, well,
there's the bed.
there's the bed. So yeah, it doesn't look very comfortable. I know, but yeah, we did have some fun. And again,
It
all
was
of this
it was
helped.
really fun.
All of this helped a lot.
I thought I still think he was crazy, but it ended up really working.
So to go even a step further, in fact, with most of the companies I've worked for in my careers, I build myself an intranet that captures a lot of data, a lot of information that otherwise might get lost in my brain someplace. And so this is, I know, this is so helpful because it puts everything in different bins and organizes really your thoughts in a spreadsheet format, and with all hyperlinks to various videos and
Yeah.
different channels and products. And
It was a great
procedures
place
and-
to organize,
Yeah.
and you could remember, because in the beginning of our build, we would work with certain companies or do certain things, and then we would forget, we could forget about them very easily if we
Yeah.
didn't have a sort of like a repository where everything
Yeah.
goes.
And we were able
so it
to
worked out.
keep track of a lot of things, expenses, and even ideas that for future campers potentially, which she doesn't want me to show, doesn't want to hear about.
We're
that
not doing
right
anything.
now. I
did
think
I
we
say
will.
that?
No, but anyway, this was very, very helpful.
Yeah, it was.
And but yeah, so this was our process, and I think there was a lot more stuff, but this was kind of it in a nutshell.
That's it. That's it. So please like and subscribe when you can. We really appreciate it.
And that's the end of our presentation here. And thank you so much for being with us. We really appreciate you being here for sure. So
Stay tuned.
yeah, take care.
Bye.
Bye bye.